I feel strongly connected with it because when I moved to Poland, my mentor gave me this piece. He said, I think this piece would be good for you to upgrade yourself and in the dynamic thinking, in the color thinking, and the phrasing, and the long lines, in the vibrato. So in a lot of segments, you know. And I said, okay, you know, I trust you, let's go. And when I heard it for the first time, when I looked at the scores, I was like, okay. And during the next months, you know, with this piece, I discovered so many things. And in the technical and musical way, I couldn't imagine it, you know. And also, the first 2 months in Poland were quite, not depressing, but lonely. You know, I came with two of my friends, and we didn't know nobody, we didn't know the language. You know, the first 2-3 months, you need to settle in a new city. So the only thing I had was Frank Matek, 4 pieces breves. You know, you wake up and let's go. You go sleep, let's go. You know, so now it's different. You know, now I have a lot of friends and a social life, thank God. But the first 2 months were quite hard. So this piece will always have a special place in my heart. I'm a geography and history freak, but literally freak. You know, I'm famous with my friends for it because when we travel, like they don't care. Benjamin is with us; he will say everything about that city. You know, when I live somewhere or where I go somewhere, I need to know everything, the history of it. Why is this here? Why is this there? Why is that? So, and geography. Where am I? You know, east, west, south. So I'm a quite a geography and history freak, quite. You know, but I love it. You know, even now we are in Kreuzberg. I was looking around Kreuzberg. Why is it Kreuzberg? I don't have any, you know, most of the musicians, when I look at some interviews, they have a romantic story how they started to play the guitar, you know, and you're always like, wow, like that's a story. I don't have that kind of romantic story. It was like when I started my elementary school, also still in Croatia, I don't know how it's in Germany now, but we still have state music schools, state music elementary school and state music high school. It's like in the system of the state, and it has a really good curriculum, really good. So it was like for my parents, okay, I was like 7 or 8, I can't remember. So he will do sports or music, obviously not sports. And so they decided to put me in a music school, and I went to the entrance exam there as a kid to test my hearing abilities and everything. And they said that I should go to violin. And then my father said like, look, you know, probably he will just quit music in some stage of his life. So let him play the guitar. At least he will play for, you know, his friends and everything. The guitar will stay at least a little bit. I never played for my friends the guitar. Never, and I still play the classical music. So these are the beginnings, you know. I just put the guitar, okay, what, okay. And during the years, I started to love it and appreciate it. And at the end, to play it, you know, it became my life. You know. Was when I started seriously listening to classical music, not guitar classical music. I don't know, my motto, my thinking is that we classical musicians need to listen mostly non-guitar classical music, you know. So I started to listen, you know, Ivo Pogorelic is one of my biggest influences. His recordings of English suites of Bach for me are one of the top recordings, you know. I started to explore the classical music, you know, and also the composers, you know, non-classical guitar composers. But I don't know, it evolved during the years. I think it will change my taste. But now, for sure, one of my biggest influences were Stravinsky, Shostakovich, and Bach. I would say like top 3 of my composers. Of course, there are lists. Chopin, I love Chopin. But when I would say like, if you need to name like 3 composers or something, it would be Shostakovich, Stravinsky, and Bach. Yes, I don't come from a musician. Okay, my dad, he played the violin like for 1 year, but he got some, I don't know, He was sick 1 year or something, so he quit, you know. But I don't come from a musical family. But my parents were a big support to me, my mother and my father, especially my father. You know, he was learning about classical music, about classical guitar with me, you know, with me. During the years when I would come for classes as a little kid, I would tell him, oh, this, that, that. So today, 15 years, oh my God, 15 years later, when he listens to me, he can really hear, you know, what's happening inside. Not only it's like my mother, oh, it's nice, I love it. Of course, sorry, mom. You know, mom also a big support, but my dad for sure has the ear taste already after. So he learned with me. So I come from a half musical family now, you know. So the story behind this piece is quite interesting. Frank Martin never composed anything for the guitar, you know. In one moment, Andres Segovia and him lived in the same city, Geneva, you know. And they met, so the story is not so clear if Segovia asked him for the composition or he offered himself. We don't know that. Anyways, he wrote that piece, Cuatro Piezas Breves, or 4 short pieces, literal translation. And he sent it to him, and he didn't get any response. It was a first piece that Martin wrote for guitar, and he found that guitar is a quite difficult instrument to write for, and that's true. So he sent the scores, and he never got a response. And once, maybe I don't know, 2-3 months later, he met him on the street, you know, and he was like, hello, maestro, hello. And he was like, au revoir, like just hello, and he went, and he was like, what's going on? He doesn't like my piece, and you know, probably it's too difficult. So the piece just went off. Then he made a transcription for the piano, and the transcription for piano is called also guitare, in French, I don't know, Cuatro Piezas Breves. Then he made a transcription for the orchestra, and then later it came again actually in the guitar, and then it got famous, you know, especially after Julian Bream recorded it, it got famous, you know. And I think it's one of the best modern, let's say modern, it's like almost 100 years old, modern pieces from the 20th century for guitar. Really, it's amazing, because this piece is from one of the lastest piece of Martin, of his first phase of composing, you know, because he was using the Schoenberg techniques, Schoenberg technique, and some of the Bach techniques, you know. So when you analyze this piece, it's amazing, you know, so many things, you know, not mentioning how many colors, dynamic range, and every component you can put into it. But when you just analyze it analytically, you can see so many things, amazing things, and I think it's really a pearl of our repertoire, you know. Short, we say in Croatia, short but sweet, you know, 10 minutes full of everything, you know, it's a blast. You know, why do I want to be part of Open Strings? It's new and young, you know? It's innovating, you know, it's innovative, let's say, innovative, you know? Of course I support the guitar festivals, of course I support every guitar platform there, because I think we need to upgrade, we need to be more connected, but I think Open Strings, it's a quite, again, I don't know, vibrant is always the word, you know, vibrant. And let's say it has the Berlin touch, you know, literally, you know, so that's the reason. Look, I'm not for sure the 90s child, you know, I'm from the beginning of the millennial, but in that time, Croatia, we were like always 10 years behind the rest of Europe, so the clothing and everything was more 90s style, you know. Now is the new Berlin hipster look, you know, but it's my childhood look like. For example, we were more modern than the rest of Europe, you know. The clothing came before to us, you know, the new Berlin hipster look.